It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'll tell you what, it's nice to be in studio again after exhibiting at the Washington Sportsmen show in Puyallup for 5 days. Actually got there a day early to set up, so it was about a 5.5 day experience. And I have found there's a real difference between being a show attendee and being a show exhibitor. As an attendee, you go in there, you wander around, you see what's new. Maybe you're looking for a trip and you're comparing lodges or outfitters and going back and forth and seeing who has the better deal or who you think you might mesh with better personality-wise. Or maybe you're looking for like a new fishing rod. A lot of folks come to sportsman shows looking for fishing rods and reels and all sorts of other gear, both hunting-wise and fishing-wise. Another reason people come to the shows are for seminars. Great opportunity to learn from experts in the industry, whether it be the fishing industry, boating industry, or hunting industry. And then there's the exhibitors. You know, some of us as exhibitors give seminars too. And the first day is always a ton of fun because you're seeing a lot of your friends in the industry. You get to go spend time with them, catch up, see what's happened over the past year. But after the first day, I'll be honest, it kind of becomes a grind. You're there for up to 9-10 hours in some cases, talking to various people about various different things, whether it be the show or whether it be fishing trips or whatever else. Sometimes people come up to you and they just want to vent about life in general, and you just smile and listen. By the time the show ends, as an exhibitor, if it's a 3-day show, you're tired. If it's a 5-day show, you're exhausted. And God bless those exhibitors in Harrisburg, PA, who are still going from the 1st of February all the way through this weekend, the 9th. I don't know how they do it. I couldn't imagine doing a 9-day show. But God bless those exhibitors that are pulling it off at the Great American Outdoor Show. As for me, I'll be at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, February 12th through the 16th, and I'll have somebody there from Sportsman's Cove Lodge too, so I hope you'll come by and say hello, and if I look a little tired, you'll understand why. This week on the show, we've got some audio recorded for you at the Washington Sportsman Show. In just a minute, you're going to hear from Mike Codino about the new Penn Fathom Electric Fishing Reel. It is something else. You'll also hear from Leonard Phillips. He is the owner of Baja Pirates, offering you saltwater fishing trips in Baja, Mexico, both in the Sea of Cortez and the Pacific side as well. And we'll also have a chat with Lester Blahuta. He is the man who owns Lester's Marine Gear, and he makes crab pots, crab rings, davits, shrimp pots, and crawfish pots, all in the USA, out of Oregon City. Sells them all over the country. High quality gear that we're going to talk about here. A lot different than what you see in the big box stores that usually comes from offshore. We'll also give you some audio that's not recorded at the Sportsman Show when we talk to Keith Catfish Sutton about catching catfish during the cold water months. Yes, it is a thing. Winter fishing for catfish, not just channel cats, but blues and other species too. Throw in some outdoors news about avian influenza affecting not just poultry and egg prices, but also our waterfowl populations. And we've got quite a show coming your way. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we've got audio for you recorded at the Washington Sportsman Show. And the big thing that has caught people's attention is the new Penn Fathom Electric Reel. It is something amazing. It was the best new product at ICAST last year. And with us here to tell you more about it is Mike Codino. Mike, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for coming to the booth.
Electric fishing reels, they're kind of just making their way into the northwestern part of the U.S. They've been around for a while in the Gulf of Mexico and on the Atlantic side. What's the advantage of the electric fishing reel versus a typical fishing reel?
Main advantage is fishing in depth, and we're talking anywhere from 300 to 700 to 800 feet of water. The Penn Fathom Electric, although you can use a standard crank handle with it and reel manually, it's the whole idea is behind the battery, the ion battery that runs the electric return on your spool. So you're able to bring it up off the bottom, let it down all electrically.
So I see a digital display. Is that a line counter?
It is. There's a line counter. There's also an auto stop mode that you can put it into, auto lead mode that you can add to it. So everything is digital on the front configuration.
And I was holding this yesterday. It's not nearly as heavy as you think it. I mean, you look at it and think, oh, this is going to be heavy, but it's not.
No, the 3 models that we have vary from about 61 ounces to about 71 ounces.
And what are the 3 models and how do they differ?
The 3 models are the 30, the 50, and the 80. The 30 and the 50 vary a little bit with body size, but they also vary with line diameter and how much line you can put on that reel. The 30 will hold about 850 yards of 40-pound test. The 50 will hold about 1,300 yards of 50-pound braid, and the 80 will hold about 1,750 of 65-pound braid. So basically, it's how much line they will each hold.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, the biggest thing about the Fathom Electric is the fact that it's cordless. There are other electric fishing reels out there, but they are tethered to cords, and that causes problems. Why don't you go ahead and describe what some of those problems are with a corded fishing reel?
The main problems with a corded reel is that it's hooked into a power outlet with about a 4 to 5 foot cord. So if you're on say a party boat where there's multiple people fishing and you've got times where fish are tangled, you have to put a rod over a rod or underneath, that cord comes into play and starts to make major tangles. The other thing is it's easy to hook up, like if you get around your leg or your foot, the bottom of your rod. With an ion battery pack like we have that's powering these Penn Fathom reels, you're totally free. You can move throughout the boat. You can go side by side. You're not restricted to a certain amount of cord.
I fish up in Alaska every year. And, there's a lot of people my age or younger, but there's some people that are like in their 80s. And, we're fishing 300, 350 feet deep. Bringing that halibut bait up, it's a chore. So something like this would come in really handy for people with disabilities, people who are a little bit older, or, people just aren't that strong.
That's the advantage to it. It allows people that may not be able to reel manually in those big depths with halibut on or larger fish. It allows them to be able to get out and take advantage of the opportunities.
Now, I guess I was mainly thinking of the reel as just a way of retrieving your bait from the bottom. When you have a fish on, does it assist with that as well?
It does. It will actually, you can go in either 2 modes while you have the fish on. You can go in the manual mode or you can go back to the electric mode. It makes it a little bit easier when that depth of water, your arm's going to get pretty tired cranking it up from that big of a depth. You can use the electric part of the way and then finish it off with the manual, vice versa, or switch at any time throughout the fight.
Love it. How long do the batteries last?
Battery, on average, will last about 4.5 to 5 hours on one single full charge. The batteries also, you can buy replacement batteries and have those ready to go and just pop one in or out if that battery starts to, lose its power. To recharge the batteries takes about 3 hours.
So boat captains, they have the ability to recharge these batteries, the spare batteries on the boat?
Yes, they do. We've got a Hubble cord attachment. We've got a battery connect attachment to it. Those are all being able to be charged on the boat.
So these were promoted at ICAST last year, but this is literally the first time that they're actually coming out. They're not available in stores yet, are they?
Actually, they're starting to become available right now through some of the retailers like Sportco that we have up here at the show, a few in the Portland area too. These will also be shown at the Portland Sportsmen show. So this is the first time that these have actually been out in front of the consumers at any kind of buying show.
Well, and you've certainly sold some too. What is the price point for them?
Price point on these start at $7.99 for the 30, and then $8.49 for the 50, and then $8.99 for the 80 size.
It sounds like you're going to want some extra batteries. How much do those cost?
Extra battery pack will charge you about $99.
All right. Well, it's certainly be the saltwater fishing investment of a lifetime. Again, it's the Penn Fathom Electric Fishing Reel. There's a reason it won the best of show at ICAST. It is something else. Consumers over here at the show have been eating it up. And if you're going to be at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, check out the Penn booth. They're going to have it there. That show runs February 12th through the 16th at the Expo Center in Portland, Oregon. Mike, thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming by the booth.
I'm Anthony Imperato, president of Henry Repeating Arms. Patriotic Americans are looking to protect and provide for their families, now more than ever. Henry has over 200 rifles and shotguns to choose from, made in America or not made at all, and backed by a lifetime guarantee. Go to henryusa.com and order our free catalog, decals, and a list of dealers in your area. That's henryusa.com. Thank you, and God bless America.
When you think of Work Sharp knife and tool sharpeners, you probably think of sharpeners for the shop or the field, but Work Sharp has a whole lineup of sharpeners for the kitchen, too. We're talking about everything from easy-to-use manual and electric knife sharpeners to ceramic honing rods, whetstones, and the new rolling knife sharpener, an innovative manual sharpener that will do wonders for your cutlery. Make sure there's never a dull moment in your kitchen. Check out the entire product line and order today at WorkSharpTools.com. That's WorkSharpTools.com.
In today's news, I'm cooking a brisket. Let's go to Jill at my house to see how it's going.
This is your house and you brought me and the crew to check on your brisket?
That's correct, Jill. How's it looking?
This is a Camp Chef Woodwind Wi-Fi. You know you can check your cook right from your phone, right?
I didn't know that was an option, Jill. Well, never mind. But before you leave, can you feed the dog?
What? No.
When we get back, why is my check engine light on? The answer may shock me.
John Cruz here, looking to improve your bottom line as a business that caters to outdoors enthusiasts. You can do so for a very cost-effective price by advertising on America Outdoors Radio. I will tailor a marketing campaign for you, reaching hundreds of thousands of listeners every weekend, tuning into our show on 135 stations in 33 states. We've got a sponsor opening right now, so contact me through my website at americaoutdoorsradio.com, and let's talk about helping you. Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've got audio for you recorded at the Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup. And you know, you come to these sportsman shows and you find not just local destinations, you find international destinations. And one of those places is La Paz in Mexico. As a matter of fact, Leonard Phillips is celebrating the 25th anniversary of Baja Pirates that is based in La Paz. Leonard, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations on 25 years. If you made it that long, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I came from Alaska. I moved the operation down to La Paz in 2000.
So let's talk about what your trips in La Paz look like.
Okay, we have amazing fishing in La Paz around the Sea of Cortez. We fish through Espiritu Santo Island, Isla Perdida, and Cerralvo Island. So we have amazing fishing, very close up, and we've been doing it now for quite a few years. And we use all American boats and fish top quality gear, Abbott reels, Shakespeare ugly sticks, fluorocarbon leaders, and then we vacuum pack and freeze your fish. So I operate the same I did in Alaska here in Mexico.
How long are the packages?
It really depends on what you want. Generally, most people come down for at least 2 or 3 days of fishing, but you can extend it as much as 8 or 9 or 10 days of fishing, whatever you'd like. So we have a beautiful resort, the marine waterfront right there. You just let me know how many nights you want at the resort and how many days of fishing you want, all on American boats.
The resort, is it all-inclusive?
No, but we do have an all-inclusive package if you'd want. We have 3 levels of service, so you can pick the level that's most convenient for you. Our standard level will include the hotel, the fishing, breakfast each morning, lunch on the boats, all of your fish vacuum packed and frozen. The next step up is the all meals plan, which will give you all of your meals while you're there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dinners, you have a choice of about 10 different restaurants to go to, so you can go to a different restaurant every night.
I like that a lot.
And then we have a premium package that gives you all the bells and whistles. Pays for your bait daily, gives you a cooler to take your fish home in, pays for your transfer to and from the Cabo airport. Everything that you want, high-end accommodations, top-end food, so you can pick the level that's best for you.
I love this. So let's kind of go through the seasons here. When do you open, and how late are you open, and what are you fishing for as the year progresses?
The season in La Paz is basically two-sided, cool water fishing, warm water fishing. Cool water fishing is February through June, and we have yellowtail, amberjack, grouper, snappers, roosterfish. Then the warm water will start pushing into the area. All the pelagics come on that, dorado, marlin, sailfish, wahoo, tuna, and that goes from July till about November.
All right. Now, this isn't the only place you're operated in. So that's on the Sea of Cortez side. On the other side of the Baja Peninsula, you got a place called Mag Bay. Completely unfamiliar with this fishery.
Right. Mag Island is a very unique place. Magdalena Island is a long sand island about 80 miles long. There's an opening to the blue water at the south at a place called San Carlos, and another one to the north at a place called Lopez Mateo. That's where we operate out of. It protects from the Pacific over 100 miles of mangrove bays. These bays can be anywhere from 200 yards wide to 5 miles wide. All of the fish come into the mangroves, have their babies to protect them, and they stay in there until they're large enough to go back out. So just fishing the mangroves, you can catch easily 30 different species.
So when I think about these type of bays, I think about snook.
Yep, a lot of snook, white sea bass, corbina, groupers, snappers, catfish. They even have halibut there.
Really? In the mangrove bay, they have halibut?
Yep, they're real small. We call them ping pong paddles. That's what we call them in Alaska, but they're halibut.
I'll be darned, the things you learn. So where are folks staying here?
Now, we have little casitas, little houses. We have 10 little casitas, beautiful, comfortable for 2 people. They have a little lanai out in front so you can sit out in front of your room. We have a great fire pit there. We have a fire every night and sit around and talk about the day. But it's very rustic and very rural. There's no bars, no restaurants, nothing to go to. You're going to stay in. We're going to feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and fish you, vacuum pack and freeze all your fish, and then take you back to the Loretto Airport.
You know, it sounds like a fantastic trip to me. I love the whole rustic experience, and, you know, it sounds really down to earth, so this sounds good. And I'd love to catch some of those species I've never been able to go after before. So the boats you're using, are these more like center console skiffs?
Well, we use American boats primarily, stripers, Triumphs, Parkers, Grady Whites, and those types of boats. So that's what we use. We do have a few sea pongas. They're about 27 foot, and they're designed for going out in the open ocean.
How many people do you fish per boat?
Generally 2.
Okay, that's great. But that's in Mag Bay. In La Paz, is it also 2?
Yeah, in La Paz we have boats designed. We have 15 boats in the fleet. We have boats designed for 2s, 3s, and 4s. So you decide how you want to fish.
Well, it sounds like all sorts of great options here, and I'm beginning to understand why you've been open for 25 years. You've got some really good offerings going on here. What else should folks know about booking a trip with Baja Pirates?
One of the things is, in La Paz, if you're looking for a really great destination, La Paz is a super city to go to. It's a colonial city, not a tourist city, so you won't get any of that tourist hustle.
I like that.
No little kids are going to come up to you to buy any chiclets. Nothing's for sale on the beach. Nobody wants you to see a timeshare. We've got a German guy in town that has a culinary academy and turning out classically trained French chefs for these little 12 and 14-seat restaurants. Your adventure at night for dinner is going to be as big as your adventure in the day for fishing.
All right. Sounds like some great reasons to book a trip with Baja Pirates. What's the website folks should go to?
Okay, it's www.baja, B-A-J-A, Pirates, P-I-R-A-T-E-S of O-F, La Paz, L-A-P-A-Z.com.
One more time with the website.
It's www.Baja, B-A-J-A, Pirates, P-I-R-A-T-E-S of O-F, La Paz, L-A-P-A-Z.com.
There you go. Baja Pirates of La Paz.com. That's Baja Pirates of La Paz.com. Check it out and plan your Baja vacation today. Thanks so much, Leonard.
Thank you.
Do you love to fish? Do you love to eat fish? Well, if you do, you know how important it is to have something to keep things sharp. Now, in the boat, it might be something to keep your hook sharp, like maybe the pocket knife sharpener from Work Sharp, which also works just fine along with the guided field sharpener for keeping fillet knives sharp. So when it comes to cleaning those fish you catch for the day, you can get that done in a hurry. And let's not forget, back at the house, when you're preparing those fish for a meal, that's when you want to have a kitchen knife sharpener, and there's several electric ones available. You can find them all at worksharptools.com. which lists all sorts of both manual and electric sharpeners you can use in the kitchen, in the shop, or in the field. Sharp hooks and sharp knives make for a happy day on the water, so get your sharpener today at worksharptools.com or look for these products at quality sporting goods stores and hardware stores near you. Sportsman's Cove Lodge is Alaska's best lodge, and as you know, I'm a big fan. I've been to Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska several times. I love the float plane ride in. I love the fishing for halibut, salmon, and cod, and I can't get enough of the fantastic food and dynamite hospitality that they offer at the lodge. Now they are building new accommodations, new rooms that'll have television. They've brought Wi-Fi to the lodge too, and they're even offering extended 7-day stays with not just fishing, but other adventures too, as well as the opportunity to have a corporate retreat. Find out more about Sportsman's Cove Lodge and book your stay today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com, and use the promo code RADIO10. That's Radio 10. Let me repeat that one more time. That's alaskasbestlodge.com and the promo code RADIO10 for 10% off your next adventure.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've got audio for you recorded at the Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup. And I am sitting here with Lester Blahuta. He is the owner of Lester's Marine Gear based in Oregon City. They make everything from crab rings to crawfish pots and a whole lot more. Lester, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
So I guess the biggest thing we need to talk about when it comes to all of your products, they're made right here in the USA, aren't they?
Yeah, we're based out of Oregon City, Oregon, and the majority of what we sell is handmade by us and our crew in Oregon City.
And that's a big difference from the big box stores, isn't it?
Yeah, almost all theirs is offshore stuff. So, yeah, handmade is kind of a rarity. Very, very few of us around.
Well, let's start off with your crab pots. They are really nice. Now, you got them in two colors, red and black. Is there any reason for that?
We started with the red, and it was a big stretch because when we went to the red pots, we actually, in that day, we made a 28-inch and a 30-inch pot. So when we went to the red, we did a 29-inch pot to simplify inventory, and then nobody else on the market to this day still does red pots. So it was quite a stretch, but at this point, it's our biggest seller, and it's our best performer, too.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. Does the color actually make a difference?
I think that it's more the data we get, because people don't really talk much about black pots because most of the pots on the planet are black. So the red is just something different, makes them more identifiable. They're identical to our black pots, but it's just the red coating. And so it's been a success.
All right. And obviously you sell bait boxes to go with them?
Yes, we sell bait boxes, bait bags, bait jars, bait hooks, also bait and bait scents.
Well, I was going to ask about that. You've got tuna bloodline bait, and you've got some attractant, too. What's in the attractant?
So attractant's a fish oil, so it's remnants. That what they do is doll up their bait. Could be chicken, could be fish. Most people would squirt it on there before they drop it. If you pull it numerous times, it just puts more scent into the water. Some will marinate their baits with it.
In addition to crab pots, you also have crab rings, too.
Yes, we do crab rings, slip rings, shrimp pots, crawfish pots. We make our own power davits and manual davits for pulling the pots.
Well, let's dive into these a little more deep here. We'll start off with the crawfish pots because we got a lot of listeners in states like Arkansas, Missouri. They're going to be interested in these.
So our crawfish pots, we make them, they're 10 inch by 11 inch by 30 inch. And we use a American-made wire that's salt tested for 20 years. So it's overkill in most cases because a lot of them are made out of galvanized. We also use 14 gauge material so you can almost stand on the pots. They would last forever. And where a lot of them on the market either 16, 18, or even 20 gauge. So they're just very well constructed. They're coated with a PVC material like our black and red pots, the same type of process. And again, the wire mesh that we use is 1x1, salt tested for 20 years.
What do you like to use for bait when it comes to crawfish?
Liver, cat food. There's a big variety that people use, but you could use fish remnants or anything as well.
And let's talk about the shrimp pots. That's a big deal in the Northwest.
Yeah, there's limited seasons in certain areas, but very big in Washington. Majority of our pots probably go here. We're based out of Oregon, but Oregon, even though it's supposed to be good shrimping, nobody will really tell you where they're at. And a lot of them are offshore quite a ways. So for a sporting type shrimper, you have to go too far to get them.
However, they are available in Puget Sound. They're plentiful there. Where else do people use shrimp pots? I guess I've never thought of it outside the Pacific Northwest.
Well, of course, you get down south, they have quite a few around the Gulf and stuff like that. But here, I think it's, like you said, Hood's Canal, up around San Juan Islands. There's more open season up north in the San Juan Island area. But we're in the Hood's Canal. It's typically 4 days a year for 4 hours a day. So it's a pretty limited season.
All right. Well, let's talk about your davits. You have a variety of these as well.
Yes, so we do a 2-horse or 2.5 horse, and then we offer 3 options. So we have our basic puller, then we have what we call a RA, which is a rope assist, has a little spring-loaded wheel that keeps the rope embedded into the sheave, and then we have our SE model, which is an up and down switch. So the first 2 I mentioned are simply an off-on switch, just pull the pots up. The SE has a momentary off, up, down switch. So some people like to use that one to maybe load bait into a boat or for different reasons, or to give them a safety feature. If they get something jammed, they can back it off. We do them currently also in black. So we just started doing our black feature, which is black powder coated. The majority are a aluminum finish. And the 2-horse is rated at 150 pounds, pulls about 100 feet a minute. The 2.5 horse is rated at 150 feet per minute and 200 pound capacity.
Oh, I would so love to have these. I mean, I've been on boats with crab pots before, and we've always had to haul them up manually, and this looks like it's so much easier.
You hardly ever regret going crabbing if you have a puller.
I hear ya. Okay, and one other thing we should talk about, you've got clam guns. Now, folks outside the Pacific Northwest probably have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about a clam gun, so go ahead and explain it and then talk about yours.
Okay, so clam gun originally was clam shovel. So with a shovel, you have to get down on the surf and the water and all of that. So a clam gun is basically we use a 5-inch tube, has an external vent that allows air back in the hole as you pull sand out. It also has a exhaust system that once you push it in, it lets the air evacuate, and then you just put your hand over the hole when you pull it to vacuum lock the sand and hopefully the clam to take it out. So we've made many revisions over the last few years, but we feel ours are probably the nicest one on the market now. It's all aluminum or stainless steel. Typically the stainless steel tube and everything from the tube up is aluminum, TIG welded, Cerakoted, so very, very nice. And they weigh 5 to 5.5 pounds.
All right, and clam guns, folks, these are made not for like bay clams. They're not for cockles and mussels, that sort of thing. No, these are made for razor clams. Razor clams, I'm pretty sure they're specific just to the Oregon and Washington coast, aren't they?
I'm not sure if there's any in the Northern California area or not. But yeah, Washington, Oregon, and there's different varieties in Alaska as well. But I'm not sure what they do up there.
So when it comes to razor clams, I've got to ask, are you a fried clam guy? Are you a clam chowder guy or something else?
We don't clam that much.
The man who makes clam guns doesn't clam that much. All right. As for my family, when I grew up, it was always the fried razor clams. That's what my dad loved, and squid as well. He called them sea Cheerios, but that's a whole different story and a whole different subject. Anything else our listeners should know about when it comes to Lester's Marine Gear?
Well, we answer the phone 7 days a week till 9 o'clock at night. So we're a mom-and-pa operation, have a small crew, but a dedicated crew, and we take care of the customers, and we appreciate our customers' input.
All right, so whether you want crab rings, crab pots, crawfish pots, shrimp pots, clam guns, or davits to help you haul up those pots, the website to go to, lesterscrabpots.com. That's lesterscrabpots.com. Check them out. They're made in America, high quality. They're going to last you a lifetime, and you're going to have all sorts of fun using them. Lester, thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
In other news, got to give it up for our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. They've come up with something very unique. It's the Garden Gun Smoothbore 22 caliber lever action rifle. Now, the Henry Garden Gun is one that you use if you are trying to deal with mice or maybe snakes on your property. And obviously, if you live in the city, this isn't going to work out for you. But if you live in the country and want to get rid of some of these pests, this is the perfect rifle for you. It actually uses a 22 caliber long-range shot shell. And because it's a smooth bore and doesn't have rifling, it distributes the projectiles in a really tight pattern. Throw in the fact it's got a 15-round capacity, and there's plenty of pest control to go around. It's like all of the firearms from Henry Repeating Arms. It's made in the USA. It comes with a lifetime satisfaction guarantee. So check it out. It's at henryusa.com. That's henryusa.com. And don't forget to ask for your free decals and catalog while you're there. Sportsman's Cove Lodge is Alaska's best lodge, and as you know, I'm a big fan. I've been to Prince of Wales Island in southeast Alaska several times. I love the float plane ride in. I love the fishing for halibut, salmon, and cod, and I can't get enough of the fantastic food and dynamite hospitality that they offer at the lodge. Now they are building new accommodations, new rooms that'll have television. They've brought Wi-Fi to the lodge too. And they're even offering extended 7-day stays with not just fishing, but other adventures too, as well as the opportunity to have a corporate retreat. Find out more about Sportsman's Cove Lodge and book your stay today at alaskasbestlodge.com. That's alaskasbestlodge.com, and use the promo code RADIO10. That's Radio10. Let me repeat that one more time. That's alaskasbestlodge.com and the promo code Radio10 for 10% off your next adventure.
Modular. When it comes to getting the most out of your Camp Chef 2-burner propane stove, that's the word to use. Sure, you can cook directly over either burner with a pot or pan, but how about putting a grill box on to serve up burgers, steaks, or chicken? Put a griddle on to cook up your breakfast. Pizza? We've got that covered too with our pizza oven that you place right over the stove. Whatever you're cooking while camping or at home, Camp Chef has got you covered. Find out more about modular stove accessories at campchef.com today.
Come explore the Dalles in Oregon for outdoors fun. Hike amongst the wildflowers, bike our riverfront trail, or visit the Gorge Discovery Center where you can enjoy a live raptor display, or even check out our National Neon Sign Museum. But don't forget the fishing. We've got salmon, steelhead, bass, walleye, and monster-sized sturgeon waiting just for you. When the day is done, tell those tall tales at one of our wineries, breweries, or restaurants and plan your next adventure. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Are you looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer affordable platforms to reach thousands of listeners. Find out more by contacting John Cruz through his website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
So you may ask, who are these people? These hundreds of thousands of people who've decided to do something different with how they pay for health care, and they join MediShare. It's a good question. MediShare members are people who realize they have a choice. They're not stuck with a status quo that they don't like. And we know this from research of MediShare members. They tend to have certain values in common, like their faith. They love that they're actually sharing with one another. They don't have to be part of a system that forces them to pay for things they don't support. They also value joining with other people who prioritize healthier lifestyles and encourage each other. They value customer service that's for them and their families, and they find that refreshing. And they're entrepreneurs, people who work in the gig economy, pastors, school teachers, business people who do clearly value saving money. That's a big part of this, up to $500 a month with MediShare. You too can do something different. You can start saving now. Here's the number. Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE 40. 855-SHARE 40.
You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We've got Keith Catfish Sutton on the line, coming at us from the natural state of Arkansas. He's the editor of Catfish Now. It is the free magazine you can read anytime by going to catfishnow.com. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Oh, I always enjoy visiting with you, John. Thanks for having me on.
So I've got to admit, I'm one of those people that when it comes to channel cats, just assume that they, as you write in your article, just kind of burrowed in the mud and didn't do much over the winter. But you have proven me wrong with the article you wrote about popsicle pond cats. Tell me about the really memorable fishing adventure you had at a little farm pond.
Well, for several years, a good buddy and I, we worked together at the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And every year on President's Day, we decided somewhere along the line we needed to get outside together and do something. And it was getting kind of toward the end of hunting season. So we started looking at some fishing ideas, and one of our fisheries biologists said, you ought to go catfishing in some of these ponds around here. And we didn't know you catch catfish in the cold wintertime like that, but he taught us really well. He said, just go to the pond and be sure you're going somewhere they've stocked channel cats, but once you've done that, check with the landowner and find out where the deepest hole in the pond is. And he said almost every channel cat in that pond will be in that deep hole, and they will bite like crazy. And so we started trying that and found out he was 100% right. We could fish a deep hole with chicken livers, what we use for bait most of the time, but any of the regular baits you might use. And those channel cats were just ravenous. It always surprised me how you could touch one and it would feel like a popsicle, which is the reason for that name. It felt so cold, I wondered, how could this animal swim and eat and be alive and be that cold? But they are. And it's just a fun way to spend a winter day if you're in an area where there's farm ponds you can fish.
Well, I'll tell you what, in this one story that you share in the article, I mean, you and your friend Alex Henson caught 23 catfish. That's amazing. The other thing that amazed me was that, when I've caught fish in the winter months, whether it be walleye or bass, they tend to be pretty sluggish. But these channel cats, you said, were fighting like crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they fight just like they will during the heat of the summer. They just thrive in that cold water. I'll tell you another thing, too. They taste really good coming out of that ice-cold water. We're usually fishing for the dinner plate, and they taste really good coming out of that cold water. You'll be surprised how easy they are to catch. We've sat in one spot and fished and caught a couple of dozen fish, each of us sometimes. So it's a really fun thing to do during cold times.
Now, you recommend using fresh, bloody chicken liver. Why is that?
Well, catfish zero in on proteins in the water to help them find their food. And if you use fresh liver that's got blood in it, that blood is full of the proteins that attract catfish. And so the bloodier, the better. Some people use frozen chicken liver, but it's best if it's thawed. You'll have to take a little bit of time when you cast it or it'll come off your hook. But there's some tools out there you can use, like there's a product called bait bags, and you can put those on your hook to help hold the bait on there if you're using liver. So liver's just a top-notch bait. We also use night crawlers. Those are really good. Doesn't really matter any of the baits you like to use. You could use cut bait or minnows, almost anything, but chicken liver just seems to work best for us.
Now, when it comes to these winter fishing expeditions to these farm ponds, you've got a 15-minute rule, don't you?
Yeah, we don't wait around too long if we're not getting a bite. Usually, if you hit that deep spot, these catfish gather in what I like to call a wintering hole. During the winter time, they go to these really deep holes. I'm not sure why. I can't explain that. It has something to do with temperature and oxygen, but they'll be in the deepest hole, and if you hit that hole, you're going to get bit really quick because there may be hundreds of catfish in that hole. If you miss the hole, you're not going to get bit. So our rule is wait 15 minutes. If we don't have a fish in the boat or on the ground, then it's time to move to another spot, cast to a different spot, and try to be sure we're hitting the right hole.
Well, I'll tell you what, you have certainly educated me about winter catfishing, which I didn't even know was a thing. As a matter of fact, pretty much the whole edition of Catfish Now this month is about catching catfish in the winter, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's a thing that's become more and more popular in recent decades where people do go winter fishing. It's something that people have started to do, but there's still a lot of people don't realize you can do that. And so we want to let people know, and it's not just channel cats. We also catch a lot of bullheads when we're fishing these ponds, but you can also fish big lakes and big rivers for big blue cats. And that's probably the best time of year to fish for those big giant brutes, you know, that may be 100 pounds or more. And so more and more anglers are targeting those big fish in the wintertime because, again, they stack up in wintering holes and they're easier to target if you find them.
Well, folks, again, go to catfishnow.com. Like Keith said, it's all about catching catfish this winter. In addition to Keith's article, there's an article about big winter blues on Milford Lake in Kansas and deep freeze catfishing as well. So lots to read, lots to do. Don't let winter keep you off the ponds and off the rivers. There are catfish to be caught all year long. Keith, thanks so much for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks for having me on, John.
In other news, you have undoubtedly noticed that the price of eggs has gone through the roof. Why? Well, avian influenza is affecting a lot of our poultry stocks. It's also affecting our waterfowl. As a matter of fact, officials in North Dakota and Arkansas are both monitoring large outbreaks of avian influenza that are affecting ducks and geese. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has provided some guidance about this disease, stating that the current strain is of Eurasian lineage, and the same strain is affecting both wild birds and domestic birds, as we just mentioned. What is the federal government doing about it? Well, they're mainly monitoring wild bird populations for the earliest detection of the virus, collecting biological samples for testing, and in certain situations, wildlife refuge managers are limiting public access to areas where sick or dead birds are present to protect human and domestic animal health. Some notes for you as a hunter or wildlife watcher: do not handle or eat sick game. Field dress and prepare game outdoors or in a well-ventilated area. Wear rubber and disposable latex gloves while handling and cleaning game. And when you're done cleaning that game, wash your hands thoroughly with soap or disinfectant and clean knives, equipment, and surfaces that come in contact with game. Do not eat, drink, or smoke while handling animals. And make sure that all game is thoroughly cooked to an internal temperature of 160 degrees Fahrenheit before you consume it. Why all these precautions? Well, bird flu can be caught by humans as well. And several people have come down with bird flu, and a number of them are going to hospitals for treatment. There's been concern that bird feeders could also be a cause of this disease, but the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says that's unlikely because the types of birds, songbirds and such, that go to bird feeders are not the types that are spreading avian influenza. If you want additional information about avian influenza in your state, check out your state DNR or Fish and Wildlife website. On that note, it's time to wrap things up. A reminder that I am going to be at the big Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon from February 12th through the 16th. I hope you'll drop by our booth and say hello. And another reason to do so is because our friends from Sportsman's Cove Lodge in Southeast Alaska are going to be sharing booth space with us, and they're going to be selling trips. They can answer any questions you have and book you for a great Alaskan adventure. As for the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show, you can find out more details and get discount coupons for certain days by going to thesportshows.com. That's thesportshows.com. You don't want to miss the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show. It's the biggest show west of the Mississippi with hundreds of exhibitors, celebrity appearances, seminars, and a whole lot more. As for things to do, February's a little bit limited. The general waterfowl season has ended, though there is snow goose hunting in a number of states this month. There's also hunting for coyotes and other predators. Ice fishing, of course. And it's a great time for wildlife watching as well. Just keep your distance from the big game animals and don't stress them. And of course, if the weather's too cold, well, there are plenty of sportsman shows to attend this month. Until next week, here's hoping that you are healthy and blessed. And do remember this, it is your country and your outdoors, so get out there and enjoy it.